welcome to Hoojies Garage, or not even my garage, it's Maxx Garage. And he has a very interesting 560 SL, but you don't think it's a proper SL, right?
No, well, to me this car is, back then, it was a fancy boulevard cruiser. But my purpose is actually to convert this car into a sporty and a light vehicle.
Sportsman, so it should be a proper SL. And the power right now is, you said something like 230 horsepower. And
That's what it rated it.
It's rated like 230 something, and it's an automatic. So you want it to be a manual shift.
Yes.
And way more power, probably twice the power. Let's see if that will work. But it's because it's not just to throw out an engine and put in a new one. Just to get it legal is one thing. But let's look at the parts that are on its way into this car. And the old engine is there. Let's take a quick look at that one first.
Yeah, we can do that.
Here on the floor we have this, what did you call it?
M117.
M117. 5 point, not 5.6, 5.5 something then.
47, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's close to 5.6
All right.
liters.
And here you have some kind of an old-fashioned automatic gearbox.
Yeah, or even a slip-o-matic.
Slip-o-matic,
Because
as you call it.
it doesn't have any lockup converter. So the converter is always open and slipping all the time. So I think it's a slip-o-matic.
All right. It looks a bit old-fashioned, but well, all right. Those were the days. Now, there's a whole series of things that you will have to manage with this. Of course, the new engine will not fit. You have is it a 6-speed box that you have about to get into the car?
Yes, that's what it's going to be.
And of course, nothing is the same in terms of dimensions. So here you're working with the prop shaft. So you're trying to shorten a prop shaft from a Mercedes 320D diesel?
Yes, that's true.
All right.
And also that you can see that the new powertrain would be a little bit more powerful. That's the reason why I like this size of the prop shaft comparing to this old one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, interesting. So there will be lots of more torque also. And let's look at the new engine that's about to come into place here. Here we have quite something. I have driven a car with this type of engine in it, an AMG E55. I drove it to Italy and back, and it was a fun ride, for sure, or a drive even. So this engine is like 18 years old or something?
Yeah, it's built 2005.
All right.
And this one has covered 146,000 kilometers.
So it's a bit used.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. But it's rated like roughly 475 horsepower or something, and a bit over 700 Newton meters.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
won't this engine just kill that car?
Well, I don't think so actually, but it will be a bit more power, of course. Yeah, you will double the figures and even a little bit more than that. Yes.
Hand built by Andreas Messer. Okay. But there must be lots of problems to get this engine into the car. You have, as far as I can see here, you have built a new flywheel for it.
Yeah, since this V8 never comes with a manual transfer, you have to make up your own flywheel.
Let's take a closer look at that.
So
Now you explained a bit to me. You have the... it may be difficult to see. Yeah, because now you turn the engine the other way around again. But the cogwheel comes from the automatic.
Exactly. So the starter gears, the big gear rings comes from the flywheel, actually the flex plates, which belongs to the automatic gearbox. So actually I kept that one, and then I made up an aluminium flywheel with a steel insert to take up all the punch.
Well, it might be difficult to show, but there is, so the friction area is steel, and then it's aluminium flywheel, and everything is bolted together to the original cogwheel.
Exactly.
Yeah. And onto the flywheel you will bolt a new clutch plate.
Exactly. And I was lucky to find out that there is actually a single mass clutch system, because I don't like the dual mass system. So this is coming out from a Mercedes Sprinter with a 320 diesel. This is standard.
All right. So it should be good for at least some 500 Newton meters.
It's designed for 620 meters.
Okay. So you're not far off at least. And
not that much.
yeah. Okay. So if you don't abuse it, so to speak, then it should work.
Yeah. Have to
Okay.
keep it in mind,
Yeah.
but it should work.
The old engine's fuel injection system is, of course,
That was the mechanic.
it's an old Bosch mechanic,
Exactly.
K-electronic,
Okay.
and here it's something completely more modern.
It would be an aftermarket from ECU.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. I can see it here. Yeah. And then here you have some electronic control boxes, and this one looks new, at least from my perspective. So Maxx ECU it says, and that's for competition engines.
Well, that's what it says. I call it a Maxx ECU erase very soon. The reason why I was choosing that one is because I need to handle an E-cylinder, and also I would like to handle dual electronic throttles. In case of that, the mechanical wire operated not will be so good, or maybe I need to have electronic control throttle.
Okay, so you have that as link into it also. Okay. What was here originally?
Sorry,
What was here originally? It's taking up some space here.
Yeah, right. That was the ECU for the K electronics injection system, because the Bosch mechanical is actually supported by some electronics, since it's a lambda controlled. It's a closed loop system. So
Okay, because the car is US spec.
Yes.
So okay, and then I understand.
Okay. So that was the really first step, transition between a mechanical system and a full electronic system.
Okay.
So they have the KA electronic.
But here you will have to get readings from this system's sensors then. Can you use sensors from this engine?
Yes, I can. Since it's pretty much, that one is adapted to Bosch standard. So here we have the 60 -2, and all the other transmitters and so on is resistor transmitters. So that you can easily scale them to the right values and so on. So since it's a Bosch system on this engine, pretty much everything is adapted to that.
Okay. And here we have another Bosch, that's brakes, ABS, and this was something for checking the bulbs.
Yes, exactly.
So a little ECU for checking all the bulbs in the car. Okay. Yeah. Now when I stand here I see one other interesting thing, and I didn't know that when I was driving this car in those days. It has a double ignition. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on one side. So 2 spark plugs per cylinder, or 2 plugs per cylinder.
That's true. So 16 spark plugs to handle, and also that you need 16 amplifiers to drive these ignition coils. So this is the reason why I'm going to use this one. This is coming from Volkswagen, and this one can handle 4 ignition coils. But since I have 4 of this, since I have 4, that means 16. I need 4 of these as well.
All right. Okay, let's go over and take a look in the engine bay.
Sure, can.
Because that's a bit of a puzzle to get this thing to fit. So here, there's already an engine here.
Yeah, it's a kind of dummy engine, which I take all the measurements from.
So you bought an extra really scrap engine, just to make sure that you can get things to fit before you start kind of cutting on that one.
Exactly what I did. So this is just a 4.3 liter, but it's still an M113, so all the dimension and everything should be the same. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And you've had struggle with the oil pan or sump or whatever you call it.
Yeah, I had to do some cutouts here, and also to see that the whole engine is offsetted by 2.5 centimeters to the right. So that's the reason why I had to cut out.
All right. So the original AMG oil sump, it gets in conflict with the steering arms at the rear. So now we have another sump from this type of an engine?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a little bit funny because this engine comes with 3 different configurations of the oil pan. You have one which has the oil pan in the front, one in the rear, and then you have from the E-Class which have a little bit on the front and rear. And that's what this engine had. So now I had to convert it to an S-Class oil sump. Right. So now we have everything in the front.
And you're replacing the original oil pump on the engine?
It had to go together with the right oil pan.
And you will have to do some cutting. I've seen that you cut the corner on the oil pan and had to weld it back so it fits. So it's really a tight fit.
It is.
One can see everything is tight. You're very near the steering
box,
you call it, yeah? it's very near the A-arm fixing to the chassis of the body on this side. You're probably near some things on your side also.
Yeah, I mean, I have a problem with the starter engine. That's the reason why I can't move the engine more forward. Because
okay.
putting the engine more forward will give more space to everything. But then there's this sort
So the starter is in obstructing any forward movement. The alternator is obstructing movement rearwards.
Yeah.
Because you had to rebuild the alternator setup. The engine is then kind of it kind of locks itself into a certain position here, and you also have you have some beam on the bonnet,
right,
and it's a bit of a tight fit there, so it's not going to be easy to get this to really fit in here in every little detail. But you're optimistic. You're rebuilding. You're doing new what do you call them, headers?
Yeah, the exhaust manifolds.
Yeah, exhaust manifolds. You're building those new from scratch?
Not actually. I tried to convert the old ones because they are quite nice from original, but I had to do some modification. And actually, when you see that on the left side, it's actually turned upside down. So now the exhaust manifold outlet will be in the front instead of the rear engine. Yeah. And that's due to the steering box. That was the only way to go.
Let's see how this will go.
Oh yeah, it's a lot, many hours left.
Yeah. And here we have the gearbox. Was it a 320 diesel?
Yes, it is.
So the manual gearbox is here.
Probably model year 2012 something.
Something like that. Okay. And you've had to rebuild the, I don't know if you call it pedal box, where you have the pedals. You have a clutch pedal now and so on. Yeah,
that's true. Actually, these cars in the beginning comes with manual gearbox. Right. So actually, there are components to be found, but they are very, very rare. So I know how to. I could see how they did it in the back then, but then I had to take other components and just make a copy of it.
All right. Let's take a little look at the interior also then.
Sure. We can.
So now Matt suddenly has the pedal console in his hands. Let's see here. So the console looks kind of genuine Mercedes then? It
is actually. And but since it just comes with one brake pedal, it doesn't have the clutch pedal. I had to find a new one. And since they're very, very rare, original SL, so then I was looking up from a junkyard the newer C-Class and find out from pictures that they looks very much the same. The only problem is that the clutch is plastic. Can't go with plastic.
The clutch lever or pedal is kind of whole plastic.
Yes, the whole arm here. So actually, what's coming out here from this is that the original brake pedal is now the clutch pedal, and the brake pedal from the C-Class is now the new brake pedal. And also, I get the longer shaft here. So from the C-Class and parts from the original one, we come with a complete
all right,
pedal set here.
Cool, interesting. All right, yeah, basic thing, a gearbox, you have to shift it manually. So you've built a new console, so this is also Mercedes diesel?
Yes, that's what it is.
All right, okay. 6-speed, sure. Right. And you've had to shorten something?
Yeah, the console for the shift linkage had to be shortened by 7 centimeters, something.
All right.
And also, yeah.
And here you've had to aim for getting in the middle of the center console because you don't want to rebuild the whole center console.
Exactly. The shift stick comes up exactly at the original position because I would like to keep everything original.
Yeah.
And also that everything is offset by 25 millimeters.
The whole
to line up.
The whole engine and the prop shaft and everything sits for some reason not in Y0 as they call it. It sits a bit to the right in the vehicle.
Exactly.
Okay.
And actually, you can actually notice that a bit, that everything is offset to the right side here.
All right. And I see a clutch pedal and a brake pedal, so you managed that. But again, electronics. Do you know how to get the instrument running?
I guess so. I have all the wire schematics and so on, so it's just to follow each wire and hook up it where it should be. So.
But your signals will be completely different, don't you think?
Well, actually, the energy management system takes care of all engine signals. And then I will use the old transducers like the oil pressure and temperature sensors and so on, water temperatures. So that will go to the instruments. So I will keep that architectures. So the engine is one side and the others is still.
But just speed and the tachometer?
Tachometers will be transmitted from the electronics, the ECU, so I don't think that's a problem. But the speedometer, yes, since the gearbox doesn't have any speed output, electronic speed output, so I had to get that somewhere. Maybe from the ABS system and so on.
So that remains to be solved, so to speak.
You're right, that had not been figured out yet.
Okay, all right. Something else that's kind of tricky in here?
Everything. Nothing is easy here, but it had to be solved. I guess so.
Yeah. It looks like a solid body, though. I haven't seen a kind of single corrosion spot on the car as such, which must be kind of unique for an 25. How old is it now? Almost 40 years old.
Yes, yeah, I'm happy. I'm very happy that I don't have any rust problems, and I guess. That's the reason why I started out with this project, because I couldn't cope.
You don't
with
want to do all the welding
and all the.
Okay. All right. So this will be quite an adventure, I think. But I hope that I can get a look here again then when you come a bit further. Let's see.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
In 2 months time period from now, hopefully there will be something different here.
All right. So I hope there will be a part 2 then for this thing. So maybe when you come a bit more into getting things a bit more finalized, and then one day maybe it will run also. Who knows?
Hopefully.
All right. Okay. Hello. Hoojies Garage here again in Maxx Garage, and we're looking at a Mercedes 560. Look here. The AMG engine is in position now, and well, look here. So here's some kind of aftermarket intercooler, right?
That's right. Yeah, one for oil and one for water for the intercooler, right?
Yeah. Okay. One oil cooler and one water intercooler.
Yes.
Okay. And you got some extra temp sensors here. What's going on there?
There will be one for each bank, so actually I can measure the temperature.
All right.
Make sure that the 2 banks are working equal.
Okay. And the new headers are there?
Yeah, I kind of headers as an exhaust manifold.
Yeah, special made
headers. What you,
yeah, okay. They're made to get everything to fit in a way. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of wiring in place?
Yes, everything is done.
All right.
Right now I just try to make out a good calibration for this electronic throttle bypass. It will not be the throttle when you throttle the engine, it will be the bypass between the compressor.
The supercharger or compressor bypass valve.
Yeah.
Okay. But nothing just falls into place. There's a bit of work to be done with.
At least a lot of calibration.
Yeah. Okay.
It's wired up, it works, but it had to be proper calibrated.
Okay. Then the interior of the car right now looks like an electronic lab in a way.
Sort of, yes. True.
Let's see here. I will do like this on an oscilloscope.
Yeah, I tried to figure out if the quality of the crank and cam signal are good enough, and also I would like to check into the ABS signal because I will transfer that to the electronic speedometers.
Yeah.
So I also had to check out the curve form and so on.
So this is a 1988 car? What was
86.
it? 86. So one of the first with an electronic speedometer then?
Right.
Okay, and just to get that to go or to work is a bit of a project. And here's that ECU.
Right, so everything is in place now, including the amplifiers for ignition coils and so on. You know, it's 16 ignition coils, so there had to be 16 amplifiers as well.
All right.
And there's a kind of wiring, that's for sure.
And the manual gearbox is in place?
Everything is in place, right? Clutch working.
Oh yeah, the pedal is over there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We didn't look at the other side of the engine. Let's see here. Whoops. Okay, yeah. Coil on plugs, so to speak. You got multiple plugs.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably an emission thing, Mats thinks.
I think so. I mean, this engine was launched when the LEV emission was upcoming in US. So I guess the twin spark is just for emission.
Okay.
HE emissions,
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And underneath, you're building a new exhaust system?
Yeah, that was his left to do. Otherwise, it's almost finished up now.
Okay. But you're a bit concerned about how to get things cranked up and to get the oil pressure going.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the oil pump is brand new and it's probably dry and so on.
Yeah. Mm.
So I would like to prime the engine a little bit before I start to crank it. So probably I will push some oil back into the gallery through the oil control. Okay. The oil pressure gauge. So that's what I would do. Then I will start to crank the engine.
Okay, good. Making good progress. Just let's take a little look underneath. You got the original radiator?
The original one was a mechanical with a visco coupling. This is
yeah, but the fan, but the radiator as such is the
radiator is original.
And then let's see underneath. Just you have this mattress here. Okay, one catalytic converter that you're on. It's quite a large tube exhaust system, 3-inch.
Yeah, the first one is 2-inch from each bank, and then it goes into the catalytic converter, and then we'll continue with the 3-inch to the second converter, catalytic converter, and then we go down to 2.5-inch to the final muffler.
All right. Okay, good. Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah, just a little update. So, all right. Thanks for this little quick show. Good luck, and we'll be back and see how things work out.
Yeah, hopefully next time we will fire up and see how that.
Yeah. Okay.
It will be interesting to see how it sounds.
Yeah. Hello again. Now time has passed. It's roughly a year later, or maybe even a bit more. But you think that you've added, or no, not added. You've done some 1,500 hours of work now.
Yeah, approximately.
1,500 hours of work. And guess what? If we take a look here, there is a supercharged Mercedes-Benz, I call it E55, but you have a better name for the engine?
Well, we call the M113K. K for compressor.
Yeah. Let's swap here. So, here we have her. When I were here making a video, about a year ago or something, then you had a kind of a dummy engine in it to try out things and see how things were fitting. Now it's the proper engine. And I remember that not the whole, but half of the interior were kind of out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. All right. What kind of last minute changes have you done to the installation now in the recent time?
Actually, it was the exhaust manifold.
Exhaust manifold?
Yeah.
And it was on the left side?
On the left side.
Let's take
I tried to rotate it in the front of the engine, so actually it went down in the front of the cross member and then it went straight under the cross member, but the clearance to the ground actually was, the impact of that was too much actually, so now I wrote it more like the original one.
Okay. And you managed to squeeze it in back at the back there. Let's see if I can.
Yeah. The problem is that it interferes quite much with the steering box. So it's a little bit tight there.
Yeah. And you have a, what do you say, shorter ratio steering box right now? Yeah.
That's also true, yeah. I swapped from 3.25 to 2.75 turns lock to lock.
For being a kind of warm gear type, it's quite a bit better.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
It gives more a feeling of a modern car.
Yeah. All right. And the whole injection system has been tuned. You got this Maxx ECU running, and I didn't know that the. Let's see here if I can go back here. I didn't know that the Maxx ECU could drive meters like the speedometer and the tachometer and so on.
Right.
That's a bit interesting. So the guys doing that ECU, they know how to make project cars, so to speak, for sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have actually taken care of everything you need.
Yeah. So the Maxx ECU basic setup you made on your own using your experience and their guidance, so to speak, and then but yeah, explain a bit now. You had to get it more professionally made in a way.
Yeah, all the functionalities, setups for I/O, inputs, outputs, and so on, that was made by me. And also I set up all the basic drivability, so I could drive the car for like 120 kilometers on the road. But with like now 428 horsepower on the rear wheel, it's not that easy to make a full load settings on the street.
Even dangerous in a way.
So I had to go to a rolling road.
Yeah, okay.
To chassis dynamometer.
But now on the crank you have 480 horsepower.
That what is homologated for. As I said, I have 428 on the rear wheel. That have been measured on the chassis dyno. And if you add like 12% of losses through the drivetrain, then you come to 480 in the engine, which actually match quite well with the original settings.
Because I've been driving a Mercedes E55 like 20 years ago, and it had this engine, and I think the documentation said 475 horsepower or something like that. Okay, that's a good output even today.
Yeah, actually, that's very well.
Okay.
Gain a couple of horsepower.
Yeah. All right. And this is what the car has been approved with now?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got
353 kilowatts.
353 kilowatts in the documentation.
Yeah, which is equal to 480.
And getting a car like this approved with that power wasn't completely straightforward.
Well, actually, you have to apply for an exemption. So now it's approved for 20 kilowatts per 100 kilo weight of the car. And actually, it's become a little bit heavier with this engine, and especially with the gearbox and so on. And including the hard top.
And you made sure that it really is with the right weight in a way. Yeah. I understand. Okay, so it's kind of around 1.8 tons, roughly.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. But the interior now is back in original condition in a way.
Yep.
Yeah, but you got a stick to shift with.
Yeah, that's the only which differ from original.
And you got the clutch pedal down there, which we can't see right now. But this looks really neat.
Yep, that's a must.
Yeah.
I really need that one.
Okay.
So
and the ECU you got hidden, or can you? No, we can't see it.
It's under there. It's in the original place.
Yeah. All right.
So
okay, but shall we start it up and see how it runs?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Let's see how it starts up. I think he's running it on E55 ethanol fuel right now. So the question then is it a sports car now?
Well, the beginning it was a boulevard cruiser.
Yeah, it was a boulevard cruiser.
I thought that I converted into a sports car. But as you said, there is other criteria
Yes,
for
let's do this test now. Is this a sports car or not? Can you reach the rear wheel with your arm or your hand? Fingers. Yes, you can. So you made a sports car. Congratulations.
There we go.
All right, so we're rolling.
Yep.
First gear, manual. Shifting is swift. You like the gearbox? It's okay.
Try it.
Ah. All right. Okay,
Just
2
feel-
seconds.
Yep.
Your clutch is down. Yeah. Yeah. Feels nice. And
Quite
alright.
solid. Quite
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Okay. Speedometer works. Tachometer works.
Yep. Everything
Fine.
is engaged.
can run it both with and without supercharger connected.
Yeah, this is without supercharger.
Yeah.
So this now it performs like 325 horsepower.
Okay. So let's see. Now it's 480 horsepower mode. And careful. So it's a bit wild. The 320 something horsepower mode is probably a bit more drivable, if I may say so. This is on the border of being dangerous. Yeah, a few words about the gearbox. You've taken it from a Mercedes diesel, so to speak, then?
Yeah, it comes from the 320, or the engine is called the OM642. So that's right. It's rated for 510 Newton meters, but I think there is some margin on that actually.
Yeah. Okay. But you said that it runs really with its high ratio gearbox in a way. You at 90 kilometers per hour, you're at like 1500 RPM.
Yeah. So it's just quite about idling.
Yeah.
In 90.
All right. So I hope you found this video interesting. This conversion that Mats has done is a lot of work, but the car has improved so much in terms of how it drives now and the miles per mile, so to speak, that you get from it now. Now, is there one thing or something that Mats would have liked to have done a bit differently? Well, there is the clutch and the torque that it can resist. It can, so to speak, only resist some 600 Newton meters, but when the compressor is on, the engine can give more. So I think in one clip where he took off with the car, you could hear that there was a little bit of clutch slip there. But you know, Mats, he knows about this and he will not put the clutch on fire. But who knows, I think he might rebuild the clutch at some point in time and make it a bit stronger. Well, that's all from Hoojies Garage today. Take care, bye bye.